What's up, y'all? This is KRTW Al coming at you with another video. This is going to be my Oberon video after rework build. So let's get started. Before the rework, I ran this exact same build for Oberon. I haven't changed anything, but yeah, it's the exact same build. I still use them the exact same way. Now I just use Hallowed Ground a little differently. But what you do, you throw out Hallowed Ground 1, 2, you activate Renewal. If there's nothing to heal, then you deactivate it so you can get the armor buff. And then with my build, it takes 27 seconds for that to run out. So what happens is when you throw on Renewal, while you and your allies, you or / your allies are on Hallowed Ground, you get an armor buff, and you get, of course, the heal over time from Renewal. Now, when you take off Renewal, you have 27 seconds of that armor buff. It's called Iron Renewal. You have 27 seconds of Iron Renewal before that buff fades away. So you can keep recasting it, turning your toggle on and off as long as that person is on Hallowed Ground. You keep putting that buff on your allies and yourself. When you use Reckoning, you do a base, with my build, you do a base of 1300 damage with it. But whenever you use it on enemies that are on Hallowed Ground, you get an extra 600 damage added to that. So essentially you're doing 2000 damage at least with Hallowed Ground on enemies on Hallowed, or with Reckoning with enemies on Hallowed Ground. So that's the synergizing effect that they put into it. Hallowed Ground is now kind of like, I don't know, it's not priority, but it's like the base of your synergy now, which I really like. It still has the effect of you're not affected by status effects while you're on it, so you can't be knocked down or receive any negative effects like slash, puncture, heat, etc. But now, instead of making it just a field, a laid out blanket of radiation for Hallowed Ground, they have made it into a radius ability, so it has diameter and such. So what happens is, when you cast it, with my build, because I have so much range, for 360 degrees, it goes out 20 meters. So essentially, if you looked at the diameter of the ability, because the radius is just the radius. That's 20 meters out from every direction. So the diameter of the ability is 40 meters. So essentially I can do 40 meters on this ability. And anything in there will be procced with radiation. The damage is 110. From my understanding, Hallowed Ground has a double tick of damage. Or it ticks twice. So instead of just ticking once and doing 110 damage, it ticks twice and does 220 damage instead. The power duration is 27, still the same. The status chance is affected by power strength, as well as the damage. The ability radius and the angle are affected by power range. That's how I have 360 degrees. The status chance is affected by power strength. So instead of looking at it like it's just 16, I see people through walls getting hit with radiation procs and stuff constantly, and yeah, it procs very often. So the way I look at it, instead of it actually being 16, because it hits twice, you have a 32% chance of it proccing. Oh, I really like what they did with Hallowed Ground. Hallowed Ground is really vital now. It's really fun to use, and I like CC. My playstyle is very crowd control based, so I really like that. So renewal, going on to renewal. It took me a little bit to get used to. I've been playing this Oberon for like the past 2 days. So I've had a lot of time. I've ran him with the Ambulance event. I've ran him in MOT. Ran him in all sorts of things with this, and he's really awesome. Renewal is an awesome ability. Still an awesome ability. The bleed out effect, I've noticed, doesn't work as well as it used to. So I cast it, and the orbs travel towards my allies that are downed, and it increases the bleed out duration to give me more time to get to them. Well, it doesn't really work like that now. I don't really know how to explain it. It just doesn't feel like it used to, but that's okay because they've had so many other buffs to this frame that it's awesome. So armor. The armor is Iron Renewal that I was telling you about. When you're on hallowed ground and you cast renewal, you and any of your allies on hallowed ground that get hit with renewal get this armor buff, which is 220 with my build. It's it's an additional bonus. It's pretty awesome. With this rework, they've made them just an even better jack of all trades kind of frame. I think it's really cool that I can actually give everyone armor. I mean, you could give percentage of armor before, but it wasn't significant. And with this, it lasts even longer. And you don't have to waste energy for your allies to have that buff, because you turn the toggle off and you still have 20. I think I have 27. Yep. The buff duration is the amount of time that buff stays on you and your allies that were affected by Iron Renewal. So that's pretty awesome. I like that addition as well. Energy per second, and then that's always in effect when you have the toggle on. 1.4. You lose 1.4 energy per second with this toggle on my build. When you have it on, because that's how much energy you use for yourself. Now the energy per target, that's a different story. That is your allies you hit. So let's say you have 3 other allies, right? Or let's even include the pets, because the pets are also included. And you hit it, and let's say it hits 3 allies and 1 pet, and then yourself. So that'll be 5 in total. So you're being hit, and they're being hit. So you have to times the 4, the additional, for the energy per target. So 1.56 times 4, and that's how much energy you're spending to heal those. And it will show you on the bottom right corner where your power is. Where renewal is, it'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, or it will have nothing, and it will just show the toggle being rippled, showing that it's on. And when it drops numbers, that means that the healing effect, or the energy per second for the energy per target, is not in effect either. So it's really awesome to manage it that way. The initial heal, of course, is affected by the heal over time, and the initial heal is affected by power strength. Energy per second and energy per target is affected by efficiency and duration. The buff is affected by duration. The bleed out slow effect is affected by power strength, and the armor is affected by power strength. The power duration, I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know what this... I think that might be the casting time, but I'm not 100% certain. But that's another plus they brought to this frame, that they reduced the casting time of renewal. It used to take a lot longer than it did, but now it's real quick. It's like that. So that might actually not be the casting time if it's 3.64 seconds, because it's a lot quicker than that, I feel. And then the power range is how far your heals, or your wave of heals, reaches. So yeah, that's renewal. Next, my favorite ability, Reckoning. It's still the same. It lifts enemies, throws them down. It's impact damage based, and that's another thing to point out too. Smite, it has the initial damage of radiation, but the orbs are puncture based, so keep that in mind. And then with Reckoning, its initial damage is impact based, or its initial damage is radiation, which gives you the radiation proc, but it's also impact as well. So the armor reduction for Reckoning, that is applied whenever enemies are standing on hollowed ground and you use Reckoning on them. But you know, the blind duration is still there. Blinds enemies that are once you slam them on the ground, it creates a blind radius where that enemy was slammed, which is 9.4 meters out. So essentially that'll be, if you want to think about it, it's like 18 meters, the area it covers in diameter. And then anything around that will get blinded for 5.4 seconds if they're not knocked down. The damage is 1375. The extra damage is 687. That's what I was telling you about. Whenever you use this on an enemy that is already on hollowed ground, that extra damage is applied to them, including the initial damage, 1375. So that's pretty awesome. It's still, you have a health orb drop percentage when using this ability on an enemy, and I think it's kill based. So if you kill them with this enemy, you have a 50% chance of dropping a health orb. So that's pretty cool. And then my power range is still 35.25. So yeah, like I said, I haven't changed anything in this build. Armor reduction is affected by power strength, blind duration, blind range, damage, strength, extra damage, strength. The health orb drop, I think that is baseline, so you can't go higher than 50. And then power range. But yeah, take it easy, and I hope you enjoyed. Peace.
At night was born to fight, mythical, so mystical.